My boy Tomono has some serious trust issues and messes up a lot, but somehow he always ends up taking the fall for it. It's all because of these girls who act nice to him, but their real deal is just to get closer to his good-looking brother. He's just your typical high school dude who couldn't care less about dating, and he's finally fed up with putting his trust in these girls. Then, out of nowhere, one of these girls starts calling out to him, saying good morning. Seriously, they're all doing it, repeating it 3 times, and he doesn't say a word back. He gets super annoyed and snaps at her to just chill. She says she can't hear him, so he finally just shoots her a good morning back. The girl feels all relieved after getting her response and just brushes him off. Meanwhile, he's mentally kicking himself for getting worked up over nothing. This girl, Huju, is from his class and has been hanging around him a lot lately. Everyone thinks she's really cute and a perfect match for his older brother, who's in 3rd year. He's pretty sure she's got her eye on his brother. Then she turns to him and asks what kind of bread he likes, getting way too close for comfort. He starts to freak out a little and stammers that he likes melon bread. One of Huju's friends jumps in, saying he should check out the cafe because they definitely have melon bread. As the girls walk away, he's left wondering what's going on with them and why this girl is really throwing him off his game. After classes end, it's time to hit up some sports. Huju's on the basketball court when one of his buddies calls out, saying Huju is super cute and wonders if Tono thinks the same. He starts rambling about how Tono can never get a red on her. There's just something mysterious about her vibe. Plus, she's smart and athletic too. She's really giving the other players a run for their money, and Tono can't help but wonder if she's actually gonna make that shot. He's totally shocked she's even trying from that angle, but naturally she misses. There's sweat dripping down her face, but somehow she still looks pretty happy about it. His friends are all saying she's cute and that she only just missed the basket. One of them nudges Tono, asking what he's staring at, then jokes if Tono's got a crush on Huju too, but he just shrugs it off. Huju gives my dude a side eye and then throws him this little smile that totally freezes him and his friends. She turns back, and he's just sitting there, completely confused about what just happened. He can't figure out what her deal is. She's really driving him nuts, and he's totally lost trying to understand what's going on in her head. This time, she doesn't even bring up his brother. He starts daydreaming, thinking maybe she actually likes him or something. Out of nowhere, someone yells if that's Ri-sama, and everyone's just shocked. So Huju is handing a notebook to Ri-sama, who just happens to be my boy's brother. Some girls are getting all jealous, wondering who that super cute girl is and if she's a 1st year. Tono sees what's happening and thinks she's just another one of them. All the girls rush over to Ri-sama, completely ignoring my dude and even stepping on him as they go by. It's always like this. Any girl who shows interest in him is really just into his brother. They act all friendly, but their eyes are always on Ri-sama, not him. That's why he's learned not to trust them at all. Out of the blue, Huju comes up and offers my boy a handkerchief, asking if he's alright. He's totally caught off guard and can't get why these girls are being so nice. She tells him he can take it if he wants, but he just stares at her surprised. He finally asks her why she's not chasing his brother. She stops for a moment, glances back, and says it's because she's found him instead. That's all there is to it. She urges him to take the handkerchief already, and he's so thrown off that he ends up thanking her. She gives him this super cute look and says he's welcome. Then she stands up and reminds him to return the handkerchief because it's her favorite. Tono can't shake the feeling that this girl has a crush on his brother, but then he realizes that's not happening, and he's not about to get tricked again. Meanwhile, Huju catches up with her excited friend, who's all hyped up. The next day, Ri-sama is making a big impression at school. The girls start to notice him, especially since his younger brother also attends the same school. Tono feels frustrated because of his brother's popularity and has become distrustful of girls. He believes they only approach him for his brother and can't stand their attention. Meanwhile, one of Huju's minions excitedly announces that he is back. She gives him a playful welcome that annoys him. Coldly, he confronts her about sitting in his seat. In response, she giggles and suggests he can take the spot next to her, which freaks him out. Even in class, she seems to have many admirers. He starts to feel that there's something strange about her. She sits too close and notices that he is writing in a journal, whispering to him that he seems confident. He looks back, only to have the minion of Huju jump in and announce that it's time for a math quiz. In the chaos, he is left wondering what Huju even meant. He scored a 5 out of 50 on his test, which meant that those who got 10 points or less had to take a makeup test the next day. Upon hearing this, his friends started to make fun of him and teased him about his upcoming test. They even joked that it was all because he was talking to Huju just before the test. Fed up with their teasing, he thought it would be best to go home and study. However, he quickly brushed off that idea and decided to go to the library instead, believing a change of scenery might help. Unfortunately, he still couldn't grasp the material. While he was struggling with a math problem, Huju unexpectedly jumped in to point out his mistake, startling him. He began to wonder why she was even in the library. He thought she would be at a fancy cafe or something after school. To his surprise, she chose to sit next to him, reading a light novel with a ridiculously long title that hinted at something wild. When she noticed him, she asked, "What's up?" He tried to downplay his embarrassment, feeling flustered by her presence. She pointed out that he hadn't written anything yet and asked if it was because of today's quiz. This reminded him of what one of Huju's friends had said, how she was actually quite smart. However, Huju seemed to be spaced out while reading. He couldn't pretend that he hadn't failed the test, and the whole situation was just incredibly embarrassing for him. He also asks about her, and she confidently shows him her quiz result, which is a perfect score of 50 out of 50. Playfully, she shoves the result in front of his face, making him a bit irritated by her persistence. Playfully, he asks if she can teach him the parts he doesn't understand, and she insists on helping him. Eventually, they find themselves spending time together in the library. Although he feels confused while learning all the math, he is genuinely happy when he finally understands it all. As it gets late, he calls out to her while he's busy reading some material. His heart races as he casually asks if she has finished, wanting her to check his answers. She readily agrees. He couldn't help but wonder if she had been waiting for him to finish. Was it possible that Huju simply liked spending time with him? She moved a bit closer to him. As she carefully corrected his answers, he felt sweat forming on his face, and he became really nervous. He was completely baffled and stunned by how close she was sitting. Suddenly, she remembered that her mom had just come home, so she walked away. He was left frozen in place. A staff member then approached him and asked if he was still there. The next day, he ended up getting a perfect score. Tono is out shopping, and even the veggies are crazy expensive. He's thinking he needs some miracle discount just to buy anything. Then he spots someone else reaching for the same stuff. It's Huju. They both kind of freeze and stare at each other, super surprised. His irritation pops back up, and he's wondering why she's even here. She notices he's out buying groceries too, and he just confirms it. Seeing her in casual clothes feels weirdly refreshing, and she looks kinda cute, which makes him panic inside. He immediately tries to shut those thoughts down, like nope, not doing this, because he feels like she's messing with his head again. He also picks up a bunch of stuff and asks if she's out getting a lot, then asks what's on the list. She pulls out the list and hands it over to him. He's totally freaked out because she's buying things that are nothing like what's written on the list. He tells her she can grab the snacks after the shopping list, and he tells her to put those snacks back. But she starts looking at him in this weird way. Seeing that, he can't believe it and wonders what's with that look, and he still can't tell what this girl is thinking. She goes over to the ice cream, and he quickly rushes after her, stopping her because he doesn't see any ice cream on her list. He then takes the list from her and starts helping her with the shopping. So he ends up with this tag of being a surprisingly caring guy, and she's really appreciative that she manages to get everything she needs. They say goodbye to each other, but after that, he starts feeling gloomy. He can't believe how he ends up helping her shop. And it's Huju of all people. Someone jumps in and asks if she's his girlfriend, and he quickly shuts it down, saying they're just classmates. She notices they're having a good time and jokes that it seems like a date. He feels a bit awkward but can't believe they're actually enjoying themselves. He starts thinking that he can't remember her ever laughing like this before. But then he can't help but picture how much she must laugh around his brother. Memories of girls laughing with his brother flood his mind, all of them trying to get close to Tono just to chat with Ri-sama. He's completely set on never being fooled again. He managed to save some cash today, but as soon as he steps outside, he sees Huju standing in the rain without an umbrella. Good thing he's prepared, but he's also feeling kind of unsure about her. It's not like her situation is any of his business. He walks up to her and holds the umbrella over her head. He's worried she might catch a cold, and she just kind of looks at him, a little puzzled. She asks if he's sure about this, but before they know it, they're walking together under one umbrella in the rain. He honestly thought he'd just hand her the umbrella and be done with it. He can't believe what's happening since most girls would probably say no to sharing an umbrella with some random guy. Their shoulders keep bumping into each other, and he's blushing like crazy as he apologizes. But she doesn't seem bothered at all. She totally gets that there isn't much space for both of them under there. With a shaky laugh, he admits that the umbrella is really only meant for one person anyway. All this overthinking is just making him more nervous. As they walk together, he can't shake the feeling that he's only tagging along to win him over, not because she's actually enjoying his company. But then, out of nowhere, a truck comes barreling down the street and sends a huge wave of water their way. He quickly warns her and jumps in front to shield her, taking the full hit of muddy slush himself. The truck speeds off and she checks on him. He's completely soaked. She points out that maybe he wouldn't be drenched if he'd actually used his umbrella, and honestly, she's got a point. Blushing like crazy, he tries to shake off some water, but it just pools up in his umbrella instead. When he finally holds it above both of them, it doesn't help at all. They're both getting even wetter now. They glance at each other as water drips down from everywhere and can't help but laugh at how ridiculous they look together. At this point, she just bursts out laughing, asking what on earth he's doing and joking that he must be some kind of cheater. He looks totally lost, but she doesn't seem to mind at all. She even thanks him for keeping her umbrella safe and cracks up at the weirdest times. After a while, the sky starts to clear up, so she says she's heading home, unless he wants to stick around and catch a cold. Meanwhile, he's left standing there blushing like crazy. Now he figures she's definitely someone to keep an eye on. Changing seats is just another one of those everyday things at school, but this time it's a big deal. The main person to watch out for is Hooju, and now he's actually sitting right next to her. He has no idea what's going on and feels totally lost. Meanwhile, Hooju seems eager to get along with him. She even leans in a bit closer. He can't believe his luck, or maybe bad luck, that out of everyone she ended up beside him. He keeps wondering if this is some kind of setup, but then he decides to look on the bright side. Maybe this could be his chance to get to know her better and finally figure out what she's really like. On the flip side, Hooju keeps staring at him so intensely that it freaks him out completely. He blurts out, asking why she keeps looking his way, but turns out she's just gazing past him at the mountains outside because someone once told her that enjoying nature from afar is good for you. He's still not totally convinced that she's interested in his brother too. She's got some school supplies that are just way too cute to pass up, plus a bunch of stuff that couldn't be more different from his own. Some of it is honestly pretty weird. She points out this thing called a lace dog and, with a flirty grin, says it kind of looks like him. Naturally, he freaks out and insists it definitely doesn't. Meanwhile, the rest of the class is just happy they're having fun together, so he keeps going back and forth about whether to get involved or not, usually ending up next to her anyway. He still has no clue what she's really thinking. Maybe she just wants info about his brother? He sneaks another look at her, but does a double take when he realizes she's actually wearing glasses now. She catches him looking and he quietly asks if her eyesight is bad. Turns out it isn't much of an issue for her. And then he remembers something she said earlier about mountains, so he asks if she can see from here. She casually says it's no problem at all, so he casually lets it slip that he's actually pretty outdoorsy too. Just as he's about to suggest something to her, Sensei suddenly turns his way and throws the next question at him. The thing is, he wasn't even paying attention in class. Meanwhile, Hooju just quietly says persistence. He's left wondering if she's actually giving him the right answer or not. Sensei asks if he heard the question, but honestly he has no clue and isn't sure if he can trust what Hooju told him. He's super nervous, like sweating bullets, and totally stumbling over his words. Still, he blurts out persistence. Sensei absolutely lights up because it's the right answer and even starts dancing around in excitement. So turns out Hooju didn't actually take our guy after all. She whispers that she appreciates him and even throws in a cheeky wink while looking pretty smug about it. Naturally, he starts blushing like crazy and can't figure out why she seems to be enjoying the whole thing so much. He decides to just trust her this time. He suggests again that if her eyesight is really that bad, maybe she should swap seats with someone else. But she just smiles and says she likes where she's sitting. That totally throws him off. He has no idea what's going on in her head. Once everyone gets their assigned rows, Takamiya checks if Hooju will be okay sitting so far back. She insists it's all good and glances around at the back of the room. Meanwhile, our guy's friends start teasing him about switching seats with her, but he brushes them off. Then Hooju catches his eye and blushes too. That's when she decides it's fine to wear her glasses after all. And just like that, our guy ends up sulking in his seat at the back of the class. So next thing you know, Sensei announces they're already on the bus and all hyped up, asks if anyone wants to play cards. All the kids are on board now, chatting about how it might be fun. Hooju turns to our guy and asks if he's into. At first he looks a little lost, but then totally freaks out, brushes away the cards and snaps that they shouldn't just assume they'll play without asking him first. It's a day trip for outdoor learning, basically an excuse to mess around in nature and get some class bonding done. He ended up in this group because Takamiya called out to them. Honestly, he feels kinda awkward about it, and being grouped with Hooju doesn't help. But hey, it could be worse. At least he's not stuck with some of the other girls. He tries not to overthink things even though he's feeling flustered. While everyone else is goofing off playing cards, he's actually paying attention. Turns out whoever wins gets to pick who has to cook or gather firewood later. One of the minions overhears that firewood duty is on the line and suddenly gets super competitive, like his life depends on winning this card game. Now our guy realizes there's no way he can afford to lose either. When they finally get there, everyone piles out. He turns to Hoju and asks why she's stuck with firewood duty too. She spills the beans. He came in dead last, and she was right behind him. If she hadn't messed things up for him, he wouldn't be hauling logs now. He just starts crying about it. Seriously though, dragging firewood up this steep hill is no joke. It's rough. He glances back to see if Hoju's surviving, and honestly, she looks miserable trying to lug those heavy pieces of wood around. But somehow, she finishes up and acts like it was nothing, even though she's all sweaty now, and he can't help but notice something different about her. That's when Takamiya steps in and checks if Hoju's okay. Our guy seems a little lost for words, but Takamiya gets it right away and tells him not to hold back if anything's wrong. His friends are practically bawling because Hasegawa is just way too nice. Suddenly, Hoju jumps in out of nowhere, startling everyone, and apologizes for freaking out earlier. He tries to tell her not to sneak up on people like that. Watching her totally drenched in sweat, it's clear she's not exactly a pro at physical stuff. Out of nowhere, he sticks out his hand, doesn't say a word, and she actually grabs it, which seriously freaks him out. This is definitely not what he had in mind, and if they don't get moving soon, the curry will be history. He tries to play it cool and walks off, hiding all those feelings bubbling up inside. But as usual, she just goes ahead and thanks him anyway. Now he's blushing like crazy while she casually calls him a nice guy. When they finally make it over to check on the curry, something seems way off. It looks weird and smells even weirder. The whole crew is trying to act like everything's fine, but you can tell they're wondering if that was ever supposed to be curry in the first place. Our guy and Hoju are both shocked at what ended up in the pot. He decides to investigate, hesitantly takes a sip, and instantly regrets it because it tastes absolutely terrible. That's when he snaps into action, barking orders at everyone else to get proper ingredients so they can fix this mess. Everyone's scrambling to get things right, but our guy actually jumps in and starts cooking. Hoju's heard he cooks a lot, sometimes even makes bento, which honestly sounds pretty awesome. Both of them pitch in, and before long they whip up this super tasty meal. The whole group lights up because it looks amazing. So basically, our guy totally saves the day with his cooking skills, tweaking the recipe a bit so it ends up tasting just fine. Meanwhile, Hoju is trying out some food too, but she hasn't said a word about it. He starts wondering if maybe she didn't like it, so he asks her if it was any good. She quietly says that it's delicious, and that just makes his heart race. To top it off, she has rice stuck on her face and wipes it away while he sits there blushing like crazy, not even sure why he feels so happy about the whole thing. He wonders if maybe it's just because she said something nice about his cooking. Still, he tries to shrug it off, like whatever, it's not like he needed her opinion anyway. Then Sensei calls everyone together and announces that they're about to kick off the creation event hosted by Mr. Kobayashi. Turns out, it's a treasure hunt game in the mountains. Our guy looks pretty confused about the whole thing, but the other minions seem kind of pumped for it. Using the map as their guide, they make their way through the course, solving puzzles along the way. They're kinda excited about the thought of finding some real treasure. The minions pull out their guidebook, and everyone's buzzing, chanting about 1,000,000 yen. He can't believe the treasure is actually a whole 1,000,000 yen, but they're all in it together. Then he asks Hoju if she's joining them, and she walks over slowly. He takes a good look at her, and notices she's a bit sweaty, and something seems off about her today. Suddenly, someone chimes in with a question about what Miss Kobayashi does on her day off. There are tons of different options that lead them down various paths, and he's shocked they know so much. With 1,000,000 yen on the line, they dive into searching for hints. Hoju jumps in with the bowling answer, and everyone looks confused at first. Sensei mentioned it the other day, so everyone lights up and starts praising her. She turns back to him, and he gives this half-hearted remark, still kind of unimpressed. Their little pause makes it obvious she saved the day. Without her, they would have bombed that first question. With all the compliments, she feels good, and he notices she seems okay again. They keep moving and come across more puzzles. Hoju takes the lead, and the excitement buzzes as they think about that 1,000,000 yen waiting for them. Then, out of nowhere, Hoju kinda disappears, and someone mentions she went to grab some water. They start wondering why she's taking so long. Sensei checks in over the speaker, reminding them they've only got 10 minutes left. Time's ticking, and Hoju is still missing. He can't shake the feeling that she might actually be lost, but he just can't believe it. A rush of worry hits him, and he snaps at everyone that he's thirsty too, then heads off to get some water. One of the guys warns him to watch out since Hoju seems a bit out of today, and nobody really knows what's going on in her head. After a bit, he spots her and wonders what she's up to. Is she really getting water? It looks like she found something interesting in the ground, almost like treasure. He tells her they should hurry and catch up with the rest. She gets up in a weird way, and he notices something's off. He asks if her foot hurts. She's surprised he picked up on it. He mentions she's been acting strange all day and wonders why she didn't tell anyone since it could be risky. He tells her she doesn't have to push herself with outdoor stuff. She blushes really hard when she admits she just looks forward to hanging out with him. That makes his heart race. He always thinks she's hard to read, but now she's showing such clear feelings. He tries to keep it together while she looks away and tries to play it cool. He brushes it off as something silly to say, which gets under her skin. She starts snapping at him and playfully hitting his back, then hops on for a ride while he's apologizing. He thinks it's all good. She asks if she's too heavy, but he says she's too light and should eat more. He brings up curry, and she can't help but think about how delicious it is and how fun the treasure hunt is. He notices the blisters from her new shoes, and she starts poking him again. He tries to keep it cool and says he was just kidding. He mentions that she's easy to read, which makes him think. On her end, her heart's racing too. She quietly thanks him for tracking her down, and he blushes. She used to be the girl he found hard to trust, but now he's starting to see her differently. He thinks back to when they first met and realizes he wants to believe in her, even if it's just a little. In the end, Sensei's super happy that everyone made it to the treasure safely, but the real surprise turns out to be 10 copies of the Classical Problems workbook. The minions freak out about their million yen and try to take the workbooks home. Sensei freezes when he sees Hoju again. Meanwhile, Hasegawa is just standing off to the side, watching everything go down. A minion waves at Hasegawa next, and she gets super excited. She's friendly with everyone and even jumps in to help other students. The minions can't help but think she looks adorable, but she calls them out when she can't handle their constant attention anymore. Then another girl steps in and pretends Hasegawa is bothering Ri-sama, so she walks over and apologizes. Ri-sama takes it well and even appreciates her apology. All the girls instantly swoon over him. The minions notice Hasegawa doesn't seem into Ri-sama at all, but as soon as she heads to the bathroom, she starts taking notes about him. She's totally surprised by how amazing he smells and can't believe he's in their class. Feeling happy, she thinks about how she actually talked to him. She keeps reliving his smile and gets butterflies in her stomach. Watching him from a distance doesn't cut it anymore. She gathers all the info she can about his school life and wants to know more. She's even curious about his personal life, and she figures she has to come up with a plan for that. She walks up to our guy and gives him a warm greeting, but he's totally cold in response. She's thinking she can get some info from him. She tries to play it cool and asks if he's finished his homework, but he just looks confused. She offers to help if he hasn't, but he's all good. Trying to keep things friendly, she asks if she should close the curtains since it's pretty hot today, but he's unfazed and just shrugs it off. That leaves her feeling a bit embarrassed. Later in the bathroom, she bangs her head in frustration. She's getting irritated and wonders what's up with him. Seriously, she thinks he's way too rude. Her plan is totally backfiring since most guys usually chat it up with a cute girl. From what she's seen, he should have been easy to crack. She thinks this is her chance to grab something. But things aren't going how she imagined. Hoju is being super nice to our guy, which totally catches Hasegawa off guard. His adorable smile leaves her in disbelief, especially since he doesn't even ask about Ri-sama. Instead, all he wants to know is if he made that dish himself, and that just annoys Hasegawa even more. It's clear that Hoju couldn't care less about Ri-sama. He's all about the food. Hasegawa figures that trying to get info on Tono isn't going to help her at all. She thinks this is her chance to catch something. But things don't play out like she expected. Hoju is being all nice to our guy, and that catches Hasegawa off guard. His adorable smile leaves her speechless, and she can't believe Hoju isn't even bringing up Ri-sama. Instead, he just asks if he made that himself, which totally annoys Hasegawa. It's clear Hoju couldn't care less about Ri-sama and is only interested in talking about his dishes. Hasegawa realizes that figuring out Tono isn't going to help her at all. She glances over at Hoju and notices how red she's gotten looking at him. It hits her that they're on the same page, and she can't help but freeze up. Meanwhile, he's busy trying to protect his lunch, thinking Hoju might swipe it. Eventually, she heads back to the bathroom feeling totally hopeless and realizes she didn't learn anything. Instead, she ends up gathering more info about those two than Ri-sama. Lost in thought, she imagines herself with Ri-sama, getting all flustered as those butterflies in her stomach come back. Still, she can't shake the feeling that those two are hiding something juicy about him, and she's all set to dig deeper next time. When he gets home, his brother greets him with a big warm hug, and all he can feel is this gross wave of disgust. He just stands there for a moment, thinking that if anyone from school saw his brother acting like this, they would totally freak out. On the big cleaning day, things around him are pretty hectic. The heat is brutal, and they're stuck weeding. Hasegawa jumps in and offers to help, but he turns her down. All pumped up, she asks if they're friends now. Then she goes and grabs the trash pile he's supposed to deal with. The others are shocked at how nice she's being. Meanwhile, he's just trying to figure out what her deal is. When school wraps up, she feels totally wiped out from all the cleaning and still hasn't gotten anything out of him about Ri-sama. She realizes that if she wants to get closer to him, she needs to build a solid friendship first, so she decides to kick off her last mission to make friends. She starts looking for something that usually helps her cope when she's tired, but it's nowhere to be found. She's shocked that it's missing and immediately sets off to find it. She always keeps it close since it's a special bookmark tied to Ri-sama. She worries that if he asks her if that's what love means to her, she'll come off all gloomy, so she takes off running. He walks back with the minions, and they're teasing him about giving Huju a piggyback ride. He turns red and tries to brush it off. They joke about him having a phobia of women, and he admits he still doesn't really trust girls. Just then, Hasegawa shows up looking all gloomy. The minions jump in and ask if something's wrong, or if she lost something. She replies that it's just a bookmark. Without missing a beat, they grab him and decide they're gonna help her search for it. He can't believe they're dragging him into this. On the rooftop, she thanks him for his help, but he just brushes it off, seeming pretty cold. He's eager to head back home, and she thinks he's being a bit rude. She checks everywhere but finds nothing, not even at her little Ri-sama observation corner. Curiously, he asks what's so special about that bookmark. She tells him it has a pressed sakura petal inside, and, feeling a bit flustered, mentions that Ri-sama gave it to her. That catches him off guard, and she immediately starts sweating after saying it. He then questions if that's why she's been trying to get close to him. She tries to deny it, but he just shrugs it off, saying it's fine since he's used to this kind of stuff. That leaves her stunned. She talks about how it's super unusual for his brother to give anyone gifts. She mentions how he picked the petal that landed on her head, and she turned it into a bookmark. He can't believe how much she's into it. She tries to cut him off and snaps that Ri-sama was the only one who was nice to her back then. Tears start to fill her eyes as she admits she loves Ri-sama. He's just watching everything go down. When she realizes what she said, she apologizes for dragging him into it. On his way home, he thinks he doesn't owe her anything, but he can't shake the feeling about how much she loves his brother. The minions were looking for the bookmark in the classroom, but came up empty. They figured the only other place she went today was the weed-pulling area, but that didn't pan out either. Hasegawa felt bad for bothering them and said she'd just take care of it on her own since she made the bookmark on a whim anyway. But then they spotted him rummaging through the trash, and she couldn't believe it. She asked what he was even doing. He realized she had used him, but he still kept helping her because he knew it was important to her. She was left feeling pretty confused. The minions mention that girls who go after Ri-sama are just looking to use him, which is why he doesn't trust them. This makes her realize she's been doing the same thing, but whenever someone's in trouble, he just can't help but jump in to help out. He's the kind of guy people take advantage of because he's so nice. Then, out of nowhere, he spots the bookmark. He hands it to her and says sorry for what happened earlier. She starts to cry and really appreciates everything he's done. The minions are super happy he found it. The next day in class, he asks if she still has the bookmark and teases her about her serious bro-con vibes. She's totally lost for words. Finally, she calls him over and admits that she tried to dig up info about Ri-sama by asking him. She can't shake off how his vibe kinda got under her skin, making her feel annoyed and teased. She declares she's done with all that nonsense. After a quick bow, she apologizes and laughs, saying he's actually a good guy. She feels a rush of excitement, thinking that real love is all about gathering dirt on Ri-sama. She proposes they become real friends this time. That totally throws him off, and he shoots her down because he still doesn't trust anyone. She's frustrated since that was such a sweet moment. They end up cracking a few jokes together. She suggests he should let that side of him show more often. He thinks it might help him get noticed by girls, but definitely not on Ri-sama's level. She feels like she's putting him down again, but honestly, it doesn't matter since girls always seem to use him. She snaps that she's done with that. They look ahead and see Huju heading home. Hasegawa asks if that includes Huju. Huju spots them and waves with a cute little greeting. He starts shaking and blushing while talking about her, saying she's a total mystery. Hasegawa watches him and wonders what that's all about, but she's still feeling good. She gives him a light slap on the back and tells him to go for it, teasingly calling him bro-in-law. He freaks out and is like, "What do you mean by that?" The sports festival is just around the corner, and today is practice day. He's running fast, and the minions start focusing on someone else. That's when he spots Hoju. The minions are whispering about how she looks cold even while resting, but to him, she just seems like a little patch of shade sitting there. He strolls over and wonders if that's really the best spot she could find. He hears that the shade hasn't reached her yet, so he suggests a better spot. She spots the flowers in that area and thinks it'd be a shame to step on them. He's surprised since he didn't think she cared about stuff like that. Instead, she gives him a compliment about being pretty fast. She tries to play it cool, but her blush gives her away. He says he enjoys running, but his own red face tells a different story. Hasegawa jumps in and asks for a second because he's feeling annoyed. She starts talking about this mixed grade relay race and thinks he'd be perfect for it. Wearing her necklace made from a bookmark, she compliments his speed and says the whole class is on board with it. He thinks it over and realizes he's got no real reason to say no. Hasegawa asks if he's in. Nearby, some girls are chatting about how Ri-sama is joining the relay and that they'll cheer for him, even though he's on a different team. Hasegawa gets excited when he hears that and asks him again if he's joining. He turns to leave, saying he's not interested, and that totally shocks her. She starts yelling, calling him her little bro-in-law and begging him for help. He's standing in the school building feeling pretty defeated. He agreed to something again and can't figure out why he keeps doing this. His only competition is his big brother, and of course, Ri-sama wins again. He tries to give him a compliment, saying it was a close race, but he's sweating and snaps back that he'll win next time. Ri's this perfect guy who can do it all, while he's just hanging out in the average zone without any special skills. He starts to wonder when he stopped aiming to be number one. Ri's always at the top, and he's stuck in second place. His parents try to lift his spirits, telling him he did his best, but he still feels off. At some point he thinks he's just done trying. He feels like he can't win and calls it his worst meltdown. The only thing he knows he can beat his brother at is the everyday stuff. As he starts heading back, Ri-sama asks if he's going home and suggests they walk together like old times. He feels this intense fear of never being the best, of always being in the background, and of only getting attention because of who he knows. He thinks he's scared of being compared to others, so he steps back, declines the offer, and freaks out. He makes up an excuse and bolts, leaving his brother all confused. He runs fast, but then trips, rolling through some dirt and crashes into a fence. He can't help but wonder what he's doing and realizes he's just running away from everything. Then Hoju shows up and asks softly if he's okay. She looks puzzled as he insists he's fine. He's also wondering why she's here and, more importantly, why she saw him fall. It's just so embarrassing. For her, this spot is pretty great since she tripped here the other day and actually liked it. He can't help but roll his eyes in embarrassment. Hoju points out that the sunlight feels nice. She says there's something special about this place, then starts flapping her arms around, leaving him confused but noticing how the air moves through his hair. She plops down next to him and mentions that the fan close by makes a nice breeze. He can't argue with that. Then she asks if it feels nice, and he starts zoning out a bit. She brings up practice for the sports festival, which has this crazy bread-eating race. He's totally shocked. She says you get to munch on loads of bread, but he thinks that's not really how it works and figures she's just trying to dodge that race. She ended up losing rock, paper, scissors, so now she has to do the beanbag toss instead. When she asks about his events, he tells her he's doing the 100-meter dash and the push ball game. He mentions the relay because everyone keeps telling him he should join. He feels like he's not that fast and adds that his brother is also competing. He's kind of uneasy about it and questions why he's even sharing this with her. She asks why, and that catches him off guard. She wonders why his brother being there is a big deal. He hesitates for a moment and replies slowly. He thinks she's pretty different with how direct she is. He opens up about how if he runs, people will just compare him to his brother. She glances at him and then notices a flower nearby. It used to be in the shade but is now basking in the sun. He realizes someone probably stepped on it earlier, but now it's getting some good light. With the sunlight, its real colors start to show. Hoju thinks maybe it'll thrive better here. Then she considers the same idea about him. She tells him he's going to be okay. She says he sparkled when he was running, and he's still that same person now. It's a nice moment, and he's caught off guard by how warm it feels. She lightly taps the flower while he wonders how she can be so sure of everything. He starts to think about why she doesn't just say he can't do it. It blows his mind how a few kind words can make him feel so incredibly happy. Then he takes off, sweating and wiping away tears. His heart is racing. As he runs past the minions, he feels a bit weird. He figures she probably didn't think much about what she said and definitely didn't mean anything major by it. But he still wants to hold on to her words. They make him feel good, and he wants to live up to that. Even so, he can't quite figure out this feeling he has. In the end, he finds himself on the participant list for the relay race. The next day in class, everyone shows up in their sporty gear. And that's when Takamaya and Hoju stroll in wearing cheerleader outfits. Everyone just kind of freezes. They borrowed those outfits, and Hoju calls out to our guy with her arms open wide, telling him to take a look at her outfit with her expression. He feels his face getting hot but tries to act casual. Then she switches up her pose with that cheeky smirk, and he totally freezes when he notices her new pose. He gets all shy and hesitant, turning away like he didn't just see that. His friends are overhearing this and can't believe he'd actually say something like that about someone as stunning as Hoju. They think he should just let her cheer for him during the relay. She even flaps her arms around, looking completely silly. It's the day of the sports festival, and thanks to what he said, he ends up in the relay race. Ever since then, just seeing her makes his heart race. As the opening ceremony kicks off, she keeps throwing him those cute glances. When his buddy jumps up beside him, he gets totally startled. He doesn't get why his heart's beating so fast. The first event is ball toss, but his event is later, so he's pretty bored. Takamiya is doing his own thing over there. Meanwhile, a bunch of girls are lining up for a photo op with Ri-sama, which looks kind of weird. The pink team, where Hoju is lagging behind, and he wonders if she's even in this event. But then he spots her off to the side, collecting all the balls, and suddenly she just hurls them all at once. He's watching and thinking that's definitely not how this event is supposed to go. He seriously doesn't get her. Out of nowhere, someone bumps into him, this tough-looking guy who gives him a cold glare. He jumps, freaks out, and quickly apologizes for spacing out before walking off, completely confused about who that guy was. His parents jump in, all pumped up and cheering for him. They want to support both their boys, but they also want to check out Ri-sama. The crowd around him is a lot, so they figure it's easier to stick with their son since he's not swarmed. It kind of feels like a backhanded compliment. Then Hoju shows up, all blushy and excited because she got 2 balls in. He's surprised and tells her she did a great job. His parents start whispering, wondering who this adorable girl is. Hoju goes totally red and says she's just his classmate. Both parents head over to her, thanking her for looking out for their son. She introduces herself, and they start talking about how their boy doesn't usually chat with girls much. He's mortified hearing that. His mom asks if he ever annoys her, thinking he can be a bit blunt, but she says he doesn't. She even mentions that he lent her an umbrella and helped out when she needed it. She knows he's really kind, which makes his parents freeze up for a second. They exchange a silent thumbs up and tell her she's such a sweet girl, inviting her to come over sometime. They even push him a bit, saying they'd be cool if she stuck around as friends with him. He's like, sure. But then he's just standing there wondering what just happened as his parents bounce out, excited to cheer him on. He gets all embarrassed and tells them not to watch. Hoju chimes in, saying his parents are nice. He quietly reminds her that she'll be watching too, and that totally catches him off guard. She just keeps making his heart race. Some girl asks Ri-sama if he's anchoring the relay. He says yes, and then she points out that even his little bro is running. He's surprised she knows that, but hey, it makes sense since he's popular. It seems pretty bold of his brother to go up against Ri-sama since he's never lost. He remembers how pumped his brother was when he said he'd win this time. The girl notices that Ri-sama looks happy about it. He admits he's feeling pumped too. It's been ages since his brother actually got fired up for a competition, so he really wants to give it his all. Right as she's about to ask him something, he makes an excuse and says he needs to grab some water. Not long ago, his brother was doing everything he could to stay out of his way, so he has no clue what's up now. He realizes that if he really pushes himself, he might actually lose this time. The idea freaks him out, and he can't help but freak out about it in his head. What's gotten into his brother? Only 3 regular events are left in the second half, and the heat is cranking up like the sun is giving everyone a hard time. Even then, the whole field pushes through the final stretch with that tired but hyped energy. The next run is our guy's turn, and he gets nudged into it with Hoju's usual confidence as she nudges him forward. He ends up volunteering as the anchor like some brave hero, but now that he's actually about to run in front of the entire crowd, a thick wave of nerves hits him. He keeps wondering why he even opened his mouth about taking this role. The more he thinks about it, the harder it gets to understand how he's supposed to run with everyone staring at him like that. Meanwhile, on the other side of all the chaos, his parents run into Hoju again. They immediately notice how she's sweating like she just finished a marathon instead of standing around cheering. They ask if she's overheating, and she suddenly realizes she forgot her hand fan at home. His parents go full support mode, handing her water, salty snacks, and even a cooling towel like they came prepared for a national-level sport event. They also hand her a fan that they brought, telling her she can use it if she wants. The fan is decorated with cheers for both Ri-sama on one side and Tono on the other, so she can hype up both brothers without breaking alliances. She takes it with a tiny apology, and then she sees the part that says our guy can do it. It hits a bit different. But today's final event is the mixed grade relay, so there's no time to think too deeply. Ri-sama is already giving off that calm but intense energy, working hard as the entire blue team leans on him. A few minions whisper how scary it is that he's this popular. Both Ri-sama and our guy get into position. They exchange a signal before the race fires off. One runner from our guy's team stumbles right at the start, which makes the whole pink team fall behind instantly. Someone from the minions even points out how cool Hoju's fan looks and jokes about wanting it. The blue team pulls ahead first, green follows right behind, and pink drags at the end. If pink manages to take first place now, they'll win the whole event, but it's a mountain climb. Our guy waits for his turn, trying not to crumble. Ri-sama glances at him, checking if he's nervous, but he denies it in the most suspicious way ever. Pink stays in last, but the gap is shrinking piece by piece. Our guy asks Ri-sama how he's feeling, and Ri-sama admits he's pumped. He also points out how our guy is always the nervous one. Ever since childhood, our guy always ends up behind him. Ri-sama even says he used to imagine a day where he would lose to him. He mentions how taking a loss once in a while wouldn't kill him, but he smirks right after, making it clear he's not planning on losing today. He says he still wants to be the kind of big brother our guy can be proud of. The chicks in the crowd start losing their minds over how cool he looks. The baton reaches Ri-sama, and he takes off instantly, leaving our guy alone with his own thoughts. To him, Ri-sama has always been a rival more than anything, and every time they compete, the gap between them feels like a loud reminder that he's not enough. The fear builds because comparison always hits harder when it's with someone you care about. But then Hoju's words float back in his head, and he glances over at her. She's holding the fan with his name on it, cheering for him like he matters. It makes him blush on the spot. Something shifts inside him. Then the baton lands in his hand, and he bolts. The fear that was holding him back melts away just enough for him to breathe. His legs move faster than he expects, and before anyone realizes it, the entire field narrows down into a blue versus pink final showdown. Hoju and the minions freak out because they didn't see that speed coming. He finishes his lap, but Ri-sama still wins overall, securing blue's victory. Some chicks even argue that Hoju is better than whoever they're cheering for. Our guy collapses into that post-race exhaustion, realizing he got second place. Somehow he doesn't feel guilty this time. Hoju runs over, all cheerful, telling him to keep pushing forward in her own cute, confident way. He notices her right away, but his friends swarm him instantly, shouting about how insanely fast he was and dragging him into photos. On the side, he tries to gather himself. He calls out to Hoju and apologizes for not living up to what she expected. She tosses a towel over his head and starts rubbing his hair aggressively, shocking him. He steps back, demanding to know why she's doing that, but she simply tells him he was amazing. This moment hits him different. Losing to Ri-sama usually stings like crazy, but now someone is watching him, noticing him, and that alone makes it feel lighter. His face warms up again. Hoju heads off to rejoin the others. Then Ri-sama appears, hiked out of his mind, saying this was the most fun race he's had in ages. Our guy tells him to back off, but Ri-sama keeps beaming. Meanwhile, our guy just drifts into his own thoughts, still overwhelmed by everything that just happened. Ri-sama suddenly realizes what's going on. He finally sees why his little brother was pushing himself so hard today. It's because of that girl. Ri-sama smirks, feeling weirdly proud and amused, while our guy continues brushing him off like always. The next day, when our guy drags himself into school and steps into the classroom, chaos hits instantly. A whole swarm of chicks rushes at him like they were waiting at the door just for this moment. They shower him with compliments about how amazing he was at the sports festival and how cool he looked running out there. They even act shocked that he's Ri-sama's brother, like that detail suddenly unlocked some secret bonus level of interest. He stands there confused, trying to process why everyone is sticking to him like glue. His pals jump in right away, teasing him that his popularity arc has finally begun and he should enjoy the spotlight. But instead of feeling hyped, He just gets irritated. They joke about wanting to be popular too, but he zones out, drowning in his own thoughts, trying to figure out what the hell is happening. Then everything clicks when the chicks start asking to swap contacts with him. They're smiling too sweetly, asking tiny questions about his brother, and even pulling out snacks they baked. One batch for him and one batch for Ri-sama, like they planned everything last night. They invite him to eat lunch with them so he can tell them more about his brother. He freezes. The ulterior motives scream at him from every direction. He knew it. He's totally shocked, but also painfully unsurprised. This is exactly how these girls always act. He thought they calmed down after high school started, but it turns out they were just laying in the shadows, waiting for the perfect chance to use him as a shortcut to get to his brother. Right when he's processing that, one girl calls out that Ri-sama is coming, and the entire group instantly bolts toward him. The world goes silent for a moment as they all abandon our guy like he was just a warm-up. His pals appear beside him and pat his shoulder, feeling genuinely bad. He just watches the girls crowd around Ri-sama, realizing they're clearly after him and only treated him nicely to step closer to the guy they really want. He can't shake off the vibe that they were acting all friendly only because he's related to his brother. It hits him hard, the same old thought. In the end, all girls are the same. That's when someone calls out to him, and as he turns around, it's Hooju walking up with her usual bright aura. She greets him with a morning cheer, and both of them pause in surprise. He panics inside. She's the one person he was starting to trust lately, but now that paranoia rises again. What if she's just like the others? What if she was pretending this whole time? Acting on instinct, he backs up until his shoulders hit the wall, like he needs a physical barrier from her. Hooju stares for a second, confused but calm, and repeats her good morning because he didn't answer. He gets even more flustered. She says it again, and in his mind it confirms his fear. Girls really are the same, chasing his brother like a mission. Feeling weird, shy, and slightly pink in the face, he finally returns the greeting. She nods with a soft smile and casually heads off to her seat, leaving him standing there blushed, sweaty, and questioning his entire existence. He wonders what the hell he's even doing anymore. During class, he barely listens. His thoughts swirl nonstop. He feels like he's been way too careless recently, letting his guard drop because Hooju was nice to him. The more he replays things, the more he wonders if this is all part of her plan to get close to his brother. And if that's true, then he already fell for it. Memories of the past with other girls keep clawing back, making him question whether Hooju is any different at all. But another part of him keeps whispering that maybe she really isn't like the others. Still, he decides he has to stay alert and keep his walls up. After class ends, Hooju walks over, trying to talk to him again, but he brushes her off immediately. She tells him to wait, but he escapes before she can catch up. By lunchtime, he's sitting alone with his mood completely sunk into the floor. That heavy guilt creeps in, making him feel worse with every passing minute. When he returns to his desk, he notices a piece of flavored candy sitting there. It's from Hooju. Seeing it makes everything spiral again. He mutters that he doesn't want it. Hooju, confused but still gentle, explains that the candy is soda-flavored. He shoots back, asking what her point is. She says she noticed how he always looked happy whenever it was soda flavor, but he instantly denies it, acting like she's wrong. She stands there puzzled because she genuinely thought it was his favorite. Meanwhile, he's shaking internally, battling himself over whether he should pick it up. His devil side pipes up, shouting that this could be her sneaky way of buttering him up, of using snacks as emotional bait. His good side counters that this is Hooju they're talking about, and he should just accept it already. Both sides start yapping in his head, arguing like loud commentators. He forces himself to respond that it's not like he likes soda flavor or anything. Hooju accepts it calmly, saying she genuinely didn't know, and then she asks what his actual favorite flavor is. That question destroys him. He panics inside, wondering why things are like this. He mentally kicks both his devil side and good side away, grabs the candy, squeezes it in frustration, and drops his head onto his desk, admitting she was right. She blinks in confusion, asking what he means. With hesitation burning through him, he finally confesses that he actually loves the soda flavor. He appreciates her for giving it to him. The admission makes him blush so hard he wants to disappear. Being around Hooju always messes him up. On her side, she watches all this unfold and turns red too, surprised but also happy. Later in the day, one of Hooju's minions asks her if something happened, but she's still flustered and can only say she got surprised herself. Next up, some chick stands in front of Ri-sama with her whole soul shaking, confessing that she's liked him for a long time. Her heart basically punches the inside of her chest. He listens with that polite calmness he always has, and he appreciates her honesty, but he also gently tells her he can't return those feelings. She takes it surprisingly well. She says she just wanted to tell him and that hearing his answer is enough. Still, she hesitates and asks if it's true that he's never had a girlfriend. He confirms it without blinking. When she asks why, he explains that right now he just loves everyone. That effortless charisma hits her like a sudden uppercut. She thanks him happily and he responds with equal politeness before she leaves. Later at home, Ri-sama collapses into full meltdown mode. All that perfect aura from outside drains the moment he steps in the door. He feels exhausted and weirdly hollow, like someone who is trapped by his own impossible standards. He lies on the floor in a crumpled up position, spiraling about dating and feeling like he's a worthless loser. He imagines the girls seeing this pathetic side of him and instantly hating him. He thinks they would be disgusted that this is the real him. He rolls around crying, convinced that they'll think he lied to them, that he was pretending to be perfect. Our guy walks in holding a mop and immediately tells him that he's literally in the way. He asks what's so great about his brother anyway, because right now Ri-sama is basically a floor monster. Ri-sama keeps apologizing dramatically, saying he's sorry for being so useless and that he can only clean by becoming the mop himself. But all he does is make the floor dirtier. Our guy stares at him like, seriously? He thinks the difference between Ri-sama at home and outside is ridiculous. Ri-sama explains that when he's out there, he feels like he has to be perfect for everyone, so by the time he gets home, he's drained. Our guy calls him a deformed creature, unable to believe how extreme the contrast is. Ri-sama then brings up something else he noticed. He saw our guy the other day with that girl. He hints that the two lived close and asks if that's actually a thing. Our guy freaks out instantly and denies everything, asking if he means Huju and insisting they are not close at all. Ri-sama repeats her name, realizing who she is, and our guy realizes he said too much. Our guy tells him to act more natural, but Ri-sama doesn't buy it. He says if people saw his real side, they'd run away. Then he reminds our guy that everyone has sides they don't want others to see. Hearing that, our guy pauses and asks if that's really true, and Ri-sama confirms it. The next day, on the way to school, the heat already feels vicious. He complains to himself, thinking the season is hitting the point where big, annoying bugs start showing up. And then, perfect timing, one appears. A bug suddenly lands close to him, and he freezes, horrified. His fear of insects has only gotten worse as he grew up, and this thing is the final boss to him. He feels grossed out on a soul-deep level. Someone suddenly calls out to him, telling him to hold still because she's helping him out. She calmly picks up the bug with her fingers like it's nothing. It's Huju. Our guy trembles like a chihuahua in a storm while she just flicks the bug away and says it's gone. He realizes it's her and, still shaking, thanks her. He asks how she can touch bugs like that without freaking out. She says she's not good with all bugs, but the hard-shelled ones don't bother her as much. He has no idea what that even means. She quickly figures out that he's just terrible with bugs in general. She brushes past him with this cute, amused look, saying she finds it adorable. Her reaction hits him hard. He blushes immediately and gets smacked with another realization. Why does it feel like she's holding a weakness over him now? She knows he's scared of something so dumb. He's blushing, embarrassed, and mentally spiraling. He thinks she'll find him pathetic for being afraid of bugs. And suddenly he understands what his brother meant about not wanting to show certain sides. Now he thinks about what she might do with this information. He imagines her using it against him somehow and him just having to follow whatever she says. He mumbles, asking if she could just forget this, but she instantly refuses. She says she's not forgetting something new she learned about him. She even says it makes her happy. That line destroys him. He blushes even more, unable to respond properly, asking what she's planning to do to him with that knowledge. In class later, he keeps zoning out, thinking about Hoju being so calm about everything. Ri-sama's words echo. The hidden sides people don't show. He wonders if Huju has any sides she doesn't want others to see. He realizes he doesn't actually know anything about her beyond what she shows. The thought lingers heavily. After school, his pals show up and ask if he wants to grab some food. They also notice Huju nearby and ask if she's heading home alone. He explains her minion already left. The pals invite her to walk with them, but she says she has something to take care of. They ask our guy if he's heading somewhere too, and he casually says he's just going to a bookstore. But then panic hits him and he switches it up, saying he's going to a maid cafe instead. All three of them freeze in shock, staring at him like he just changed personalities. At the maid cafe, everything looks ridiculously fancy and polished, like someone took a normal cafe and cranked the sparkly setting to max. Two maids jump forward the second our guy and his pals step inside, welcoming them home and calling them master. That alone freezes the whole squad. Our guy stands there stunned, and his pals are wide-eyed, taking the hit full force. Meanwhile, Hooju steps in behind them, calmly saying they're home too. Our guy wonders if they're even supposed to say that and questions why he's here at all. He asks the boys if they really needed to follow him. But for them, this is prime entertainment. He looks around, trying to understand what Hooju is even doing here, when someone approaches her with a warm, excited greeting. The maid is thrilled to see Hooju and acts like she's been waiting forever. Then she spots the boys and gets even more shocked. It's Yura-chan. She didn't expect them here at all, and neither did the guys. Our guy realizes this is exactly why Hooju said she was coming to a maid cafe in the first place. His pals ask Yura-chan if she actually works here, and she confirms it proudly. She mentions that the uniforms are super cute, so she started recently, and honestly the outfit suits her way too well. One of the minions comments that she pulls off frilly stuff perfectly. Hooju notices Yura-chan's badge and says it looks great on her. Yura-chan brightens instantly and says Hooju has good eyes. She even explains she made the name tag herself. Our guy stares at it, surprised to see it's filled with tiny detailed pieces of everything Yura-chan loves, basically a handcrafted shrine of her personality. Hooju calls it cute and says it really feels like her, and Yura-chan looks like she could float away from happiness. The other maids begin whispering, asking if these are Yura-chan's friends. Hooju explains she just came to see Yura-chan's part-time job. Still, our guy can't figure out why he's here watching all this. Before he can think too deep, Yura-chan grabs Hooju and pulls her aside. After a moment, Hooju returns, now wearing a maid outfit too, a really cute, extremely effective maid outfit. The second the boys see her, all of them malfunction. Even our guy freezes so hard he forgets how breathing works. They can't believe Hooju is out here dressed like this. Yura-chan explains their cafe lets guests try on maid outfits. She even turns to our guy and asks if she's wrong. Hooju's blushing so badly that even the boys notice. One of the minions, Mirai, goes into full overload mode and practically collapses from a legendary nosebleed. Hooju asks if she can take their order, staying polite despite the chaos she's causing. Our guy stares, wondering how she can act normal in a maid dress like this. He keeps telling himself to stay strong because there's no way he's letting a maid outfit destroy him mentally. While the minions confidently order their food, he's still battling for spiritual stability. Then she calls out to him directly. He hesitates, staring at her like she just stepped out of a dream. She clarifies she's asking what he wants, and she finishes it off by calling him master in the softest, cutest voice possible. That destroys him completely. Butterflies erupt in his stomach. He tries to act normal and just orders orange juice. She nods, totally composed, and walks off. He sits there thinking he is way too weak for this place. His pals comment how nothing seems to faze her and how cool and collected she always looks. Our guy knows it's true. She has that natural calm vibe all the time. But he notices something. Under that calmness, she actually looks a little blushy. His eyes catch it, and that makes him heat up too. A bit later, Yura-chan returns with a tray of orders, full energy as always. She hands our guy his orange juice and he thanks her. But then Yura-chan and the boys start giggling and making little heart gestures with their fingers. They ask if he wants to do it too. He awkwardly agrees because apparently he has no spine today. He glances at Hooju and calls out to her. But when she looks back, he notices something off. She looks composed, but also quietly embarrassed. He sees it clearly. He hesitates, not sure how to react. She says softly that she's just a little embarrassed, that's all. Her honesty shocks him so much he blushes immediately. She also looks surprised at herself for admitting that out loud. In the end, Yura-chan loudly thanks Hooju for trying the maid experience. Hooju says it was fun, but Yura-chan points out she was blushing the whole time. Our guy asks if she was that embarrassed, why she even did it. Hooju explains she wanted to try what Yura-chan was doing, nothing more. She says when Yura-chan is happy, she feels happy too. Our guy stares at her, thinking she's such a weirdo, but his face softens because he kinda understands. Seeing Yura-chan happy makes Hooju happy, and that's just how she is. One of the minions asks when Hooju and Yura-chan even got this close. Hooju is about to answer when a sudden commotion rushes through the cafe. Yura-chan bumps into someone, sending her precious handmade name tag crashing to the floor. Everyone freezes. The tag snaps apart, pieces scattering. She worked so hard on it, and seeing it broken hurts. She forces a smile, trying to play it cool, insisting it's fine even though it clearly isn't. Hooju watches the entire scene unfold, her eyes locked on Yura-chan's expression. The next day, our guy struggles through the hallway carrying a pile of heavy stuff that's way too much for one person. Sensei dumped the whole load on him, and he regrets taking the route past the staff room because that's exactly where he got ambushed into doing this. After dropping everything off in the storage room, he looks outside and spots Yura-chan heading home. Ever since that maid cafe moment, she's been moving around like someone running on low battery. He can't shake off the memory of how she said she put her sweat and tears into that name tag, only for it to explode in front of everyone. He can practically feel the sting she must be walking around with. As he continues down the hall, he passes the home economics room and sees someone covered in a weird sheet of cloth, loose fabric draped over them like some creepy ghost costume. The figure twitches a little, and he gets full chills. His brain instantly jumps to ghosts and horror movies, and the terror spikes when scissors suddenly slice through the cloth. Hoju pops out like it's the most normal thing ever, and he practically jumps out of his skin. She looks confused why he's acting like a frightened puppy. A bit later, he learns she's working on a new name tag for Yura-chan. He asks what she was even doing wrapped in fabric like that, and she casually says she was communicating with the cloth before cutting it. That makes him stare because that is definitely a Hoju-type approach. He asks if she really prepared all this by herself, and she explains she bought everything right after school that day. She noticed Yura-chan was forcing a smile and wanted to do something to help her. Our guy sees that this is exactly why she's trying so hard. He wishes her good luck and gets ready to leave, thinking there's nothing for him to do here anyway. But then there's a small commotion. Hoju suddenly loses her balance and falls over, tangled in fabric. He tries to brush it off and insists he needs to stay sharp, because every time he gets involved with Hoju, he feels like he's diving into danger. Still, he can't ignore her. He runs over to hold one end of the cloth and tells her to hurry up and cut it. She thanks him sincerely. After she gets free, he calls out to her. She's worn out, hair slightly messed up, still clutching fabric. He comments that she's kind of a ditz. She instantly denies it, saying she's not a ditz, she's just not dexterous. But to him, that's basically the same thing. He notices her serious expression, the way she focuses on every detail, and realizes he accidentally ended up helping her. As he watches her carefully prepare the cloth, he asks if there's really a reason she's going this far. She pauses, looks aside, and quietly admits that Yura-chan is her first friend. That stuns him. Hoju continues softly. She thinks Yura-chan doesn't even realize it, but she talks to her openly, without treating her differently. That alone made Hoju really happy. She says people always tell her they can't read her, which makes our guy wonder if Hoju even knows how she comes off to others. She explains she never really had anyone to talk to in class. Yura-chan was the one who taught her about cute clothes and accessories. When she's with Yura-chan, it feels like her world expands a little. She smiles gently and says Yura-chan is a precious friend, so she wants to do something for her this time. Hearing that, our guy realizes this is the first time he's ever heard Hoju express something so openly. She always struck him as this calm, alien-like girl who floated through life without caring much about others. But now he sees she's different from how he assumed. The next morning at school, he opens his locker and finds a surprise inside. His pals freak out, excited, teasing him and calling him Mr. Popular. But the gift is from some random chick asking for Rei-sama's contact. He instantly fumes, rips the note apart, completely done with these empty offerings. His pals watch him quietly, feeling bad because the guy really cannot catch a break. His morning falls apart from there. Gifts like that are one of the things he hates most. They feel hollow, meaningless, fake. But then he remembers Hoju working so seriously on Yura-chan's name tag, doing it because she genuinely wanted to make someone happy. As he walks through the halls, the thought nags at him. He wonders if Hoju will be able to give Yura-chan the tag properly. Then he suddenly realizes something about himself and turns red. He shakes his head violently, insisting it's not like he cares. The next day, Sensei sends him to carry heavy stuff again. He ends up running into Hoju 2 days in a row, and she's still working on the name tag. He rushes in with a book she needs, Miss Kobayashi's Guide on Classic Literature. She thanks him, and he asks what she's doing now. She turns slightly and says she thought she could make it cuter. She added sparkles, frills, and everything Yura-chan likes. She admits her one night's work wasn't enough, and she's glad she kept going. He looks at the new tag and is genuinely surprised. It's adorable and thoughtful. He realizes Hoju isn't doing this to get anything in return. She's just honest and straightforward with her feelings, and that hits different. He turns to leave but stops. Blushing a little, he sits beside her. He says he'll help. She brightens and agrees immediately. She looks at him with gentle eyes and asks if he thinks Yura-chan will be happy. He realizes again how different Hoju is from all the other girls he's met. He hopes Yura-chan will like it. The next day, Hoju gives the present to Yura-chan. When Yura-chan opens it, She beams and hugs Huju tightly. She looks genuinely happy. From above, our guy watches the whole thing unfold. Then he looks at his own hand. Huju also gave him something. A small handmade present. Something cute, something weird, something he didn't ask for and didn't think he wanted. But now that he has it, he can't figure out why he feels kind of happy about it. At some point, a couple of girls are whispering and chatting about how Huju and our guy look all happy together in the sewing room. They're talking like they can't believe it. Then Hasegawa comes in, all cheerful, and asks what they're gossiping about so early in the morning. The girls fill her in on what's happening with Huju and our guy, and they're curious about what kind of relationship those two have. Hasegawa is also interested since she hasn't seen her little bro-in-law and Huju hanging out much at all. They're starting to whisper that since Huju is hanging out with our guy, she must know something about Ri-sama. They're all getting super hyped about it. But Hasegawa sees through it. She used to think like that too. Meanwhile, the other girls start wondering if Huju is close to our guy because of Ri-sama. They take a moment to think about it and decide they'll chat with Huju later. They're getting all excited, planning to ask her about our guy to find out more about Ri-sama. Hasegawa watches them and realizes she sees a lot of her younger self in them. She figures out that they're planning to mess with her little bro-in-law, so she decides to intervene. Suddenly, she pretends to trip and uses her secret move, rolling guard. As she rolls, she calls for their help. They try to lift her, but she pretends to be too heavy. Really, she just won't let them go because she's determined to keep her little bro-in-law's life chill. Over with our guy, he's just confused about what she's up to. Somehow, Hasegawa manages to keep him safe for half the day. It's a hassle for her, but she thinks those girls are just totally clueless about other people's feelings. Rura-chan sends some cute pics to Huju with her name tag on, and she looks super adorable. Huju shows a bunch of those pics to our guy, and he saves all of them. He wonders if she really loves Rura-chan, and she straight up admits she does. She has tons of her pics saved too. Our guy feels a little odd when she points her phone at him. He freaks out when he realizes she's about to take a pic of him as well. He starts getting mad while trying to figure out what's going on. She laughs, and he's confused about why she's giggling. She hints that it's a secret, and that just makes him blush and feel even more baffled. Hasegawa sees this whole thing and feels jealous of their cute moment. No wonder the girls are curious about Huju, she thinks. Now Hasegawa goes into full detective mode while Huju snaps away. Just as Huju tries to send one of the pics to him, she realizes she still doesn't have his contact info. Hasegawa cracks up because she thought they had already exchanged numbers. Now she gets to enjoy watching this awkward situation play out. Huju can't send him anything unless he gives her his number. Meanwhile, he's sweating bullets. Hasegawa's just watching him. He looks hesitant and anxious, so he finally gets up and decides to grab a drink. While grabbing his drink, Hasegawa suddenly jumps in and asks about what went down earlier. He spins around and sees her, freaking out and yelling that she made him act all weird. She explains she just wanted to check on him. He had thought he was going to swap numbers with Huju since they seemed pretty buddy-buddy. He starts daydreaming and admits that he normally doesn't share his contact info with girls. Hasegawa looks puzzled. He goes on to say he's had some bad luck when it comes to sharing contacts because girls would just use him. This catches Hasegawa off guard, and she even wonders if that includes Huju. He gets awkward, grips his drink bottle tight, and mumbles he's not sure. The next morning, when Huju walks into class, she says hi to him, but he gives her the cold shoulder. She takes her seat, while Hasegawa watches everything go down from across the room.